Real talk with Labzy, we speaking the truth. From the streets to the booth, giving voice to the groove. No holding back, every combo's the proof. It's the realest in the game, now we raising the roof. Real talk with Labzy, Labzy, Labzy. Real talk with Labzy, Labzy, Labzy. Real talk with Labzy, Labzy. Real talk with Labzy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am yours truly, the legend himself, Labzy, aka the best motherfucker you ever met in the history of your life, and I can prove it to even though I shouldn't. The most loyal, the most honest, and the most respected. And first of all, I know it, and I know it's been a while since we've done a a live guest. To be honest, this month, especially this month, only because that. I've been doing other stuff as well. If you've been following me, you've been seeing that. I've been doing a lot of street interviews. I've also been doing wrestling ring announcing as well, which we did not long ago. And yeah, it's just obviously doing just content. So you guys know what it is. So for my guest today, I have met this man on. I actually don't even remember where I actually met my next guest. I know it was a event at Breaking Bread. I do remember that. But when I heard this man rap for the very first time, it was just like very cruisy and chill. But the message was very strong, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just I feel like it was, and he's such a chill guy as well. You know what I mean? Like, even the chill guy that went viral. I mean, I feel like that guy was learning from my next guest actually. So and yeah, I've seen him perform multiple times, and I said, would you like to be on the show? And yeah, here we are. So I'm about to bring him in. As we're going to be speaking about his album as well. And yeah, we're going to dive deep. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you
Yeah,
Sixpence.
yeah. What's going on?
How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. Keeping it, chill over here, like this viral chill guy. Who's that, by the way?
Yeah, but because this is the vibe that I always get with you. Like you're very chill, but you're very like you just you really know how to take life seriously, but you're very chill about it, if that makes sense. I don't know. I could be wrong. This is just the vibe that I get from you.
I don't know. I
So
think I'll say that's a pretty fair observation. Yeah, I know
yeah.
what you mean. I think
Okay.
for sure.
All right. So and okay. So I do want to take it back with you because I know that there's always a story. There's always there's always been that that love for music as well. So I want to know where did this come from? How did music come to you, and how did it inspire you to do music?
Um, well, yeah. I think music has been in and out of my life for like the whole of my life, but I would say that things kind of got kicked into a different gear when I properly discovered hip hop. And that was directly through one of my brothers who gifted me a Tupac CD for Christmas. It was 2009. Um, and, I think around that time in my life, I was going through some pretty serious things. So it was something that I really latched to, especially when I could see like the relationship my brother had to it. Because I always looked up to my brother, and yeah, I felt inspired by his enthusiasm and passion for it, and especially when he then gave me his mixtape he had made when he was 16 rapping. That just like it just kind of broke a barrier for me, and thinking that's something I could explore as well. And I've always been like sort of creative, so yeah, um, yeah.
No, okay,
This is cool.
nice. So does your brother still rap to this day, or has he kind of gave it up, or he kind of handed the torch to you?
Yeah, I'm trying to get him to. He definitely writes a bit. He's really good. He's really good. Um, but yeah, he's still like one of my number one contacts for whenever I'm making stuff. I send it to him first, and he always bigs me up. But yeah, hopefully we'll get some stuff down together. We've made like songs together back in the day, like when I was about 17, 18.
Mhm.
But yeah, I hope we can do some more stuff. But he lives overseas, but he'll be coming back to Australia soon, I think. So we'll see.
Okay, okay. So he doesn't live in Australia. He lives in overseas. Okay, all right. So when it comes to the very beginning of the journey of Sixpence making the very first song, tell me about the very first song you've ever made as Sixpence.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got to back it up because technically, uh, Sixpence wasn't my first rap name. It's
What was
actually
it?
it's actually my third. Um, it was first Medication,
Okay,
and it's spelled Medikayshun. And
okay.
I adopted that as my first name when I was probably about, yeah, 13, 14. But the first song I would have made was with one of my oldest friends, and it was over a Cage and Copyright beat. If you're familiar with those artists, called With Us. That's the name of the original track. And we made
Mm.
a song called Unforgiving Fate, where it was a story broken down into two verses, and I can't remember what happens in the story, but that was the first track. But the first one is Sixpence. Yeah, I can't remember. I think I adopted Sixpence in 2021, maybe, or 2020. So that first track would have been around 2012 or 2013, and I went with Medication quite a few years, and then, but yeah, then I picked up Sixpence later on, and then it was things started, taking it more seriously than that.
Yeah, nice. So good. So outside you and your brother, was music always like kind of in the family, or was it always solely your brother that he got inspired somewhere else, and then that kind of got introduced to you?
Yeah, I'd say it's somewhat has always been a part of me. I think you know, I think like throughout my childhood, I've been exposed to music and I've really enjoyed it, but it wasn't like a thing that I'd always had a lot of exposure to. For instance, like I remember when I got Guitar Hero as a kid, I loved it, like, and everyone did at the time, but
Mm.
like that was my introduction to so many of my favorite songs now. Like I say that Black Magic Woman by Santana is my favorite song of all time. And I first heard it through that video game. Um, and then like I got my iPod like shuffled a little
Yes.
one, and then like I was obsessed with that thing, and then I got different iPods. But yeah, I think like I said, it really just took off when I got that CD from my brother.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Just
the iPod
like,
Shuffle. Oh
yeah,
man, you just took me back to like my very first i. Yeah, it was the USB iPod Shuffle, wasn't it?
USB. No, I mean USB size. Like it was really small.
Okay.
It was
Right. Okay.
maybe like a gig. But that's all you needed if you were just putting MP3s on it.
Yeah.
But back
Yeah.
then,
Right.
before I was just putting whatever before I got into hip hop. It was just like my dad's CD collection and stuff. So like Red Hot Chili Peppers and Gorillas and stuff like that. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. Hell yeah. And what I've also loved about Gorillas, like I'm very happy you mentioned Gorillas because I'm a fan of Gorillas
mm,
myself, and I've
mm,
always loved how they always have that like the hip hop inspiration as well within their music too. Like
sure.
if you look at the album Demon Days when they had November Has Come with MF Doom.
Yep.
Yeah,
And you got De
yeah,
La
like
Soul album.
yeah,
You got Five Dad or Fat Lip or whichever MC it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was and yeah, I just love that because I feel like they've made it so it's like they've recreated their own sound with it as well,
Mm,
and
mm.
it was just so different, but it was addictive at the same time,
Yeah.
and
Very
it was just weird, and I
original.
just loved it, you know?
Yeah, it's really groundbreaking stuff for the time, and it still is. Like Demon Days, all those sort of like albums that have songs that there's still nothing else that was really like it. So it's incredibly visionary. And then like the whole like I hate to say marketing because it's not marketing, it's just his creative expression, but it's the whole thing about having the characters and having them in the music video. Like it gave like a comic book feel that you could, follow along the journey of the gorillas and get to know more about it, and then it birthed lore, and it's just the whole thing is just create a whole universe. for something that's really like original and creative to begin with. So yeah,
Oh
Gorillaz,
yeah,
Gorillaz are sick. No one's gonna say anything bad about Gorillaz, you know.
yeah, absolutely. Um, so do you also produce? I'm very sure. I'm thinking that you also produce. Do you also produce as well?
I do produce, man. Yeah, if I've been emceeing for um since about 2011 or 2012. I've been producing since 2013, so I've also been doing that for quite a while. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
Because I've always, yeah. Sorry, go on.
oh no, and I was just gonna say that yeah, I do sample based boom bap style mostly, like sampling vinyl and cassette tapes, and you've heard the album Portraits. I made about 8 of the beats on that album.
Oh wow. Okay. So has boom bap always been your kind of your major sound with the raps that you do?
Yeah, and I've explored other things like trap, drill, a little bit, lo-fi. Even though lo-fi is kind of like a style of boom bap, I say, because I think I classify boom bap as more just like old school feel. I think some people think it means like hardcore, hip hop, and I think that's another like subsection of boom bap. But yeah, I've always been inspired by the old school style, whether it's directly like 90s hip hop or, I'm also really big into like underground UK hip hop, boom bap. And that's, takes all its inspiration from, 90s boom bap sound anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, because what I've heard from boom bap so far is that I've always saw it and it's always been very chill, but it's also the type of beat where I don't know, it just feels very. It's one of those comfortable kind of like if I don't know, it just makes you feel like you just chill to let out whatever it is, whatever you're feeling inside, and that beat, or sorry, the beat of boom bap really helps you to just let it all out like in a chill way, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no doubt. I mean, well, I think I would also argue that boom bap can be really raw sometimes, like, Wu-Tang or Mobb Deep or something like that. But I think I personally find it easy to, connect with my feelings and let it out, like you said. But I think that's because that's just the type of music I feel most connected to. For some people, like they might find easier to get really deep and emotional, like some sort of melodic drill beat or trap beat or something. I think it just depends with what you connect to in the first place.
Yeah. No, I would agree. I mean, because I mean, even with me, for example, like I've been very spoiled with like the Bay Area type music as well as the Houston, Texas sound music because I don't know, it just makes me feel a type of way, and it does kind of hit my ear like that, where it's very chill but dancey at the same time, and you know, and yeah, don't get me wrong, like I like other type of genres as well, like gorillas, as I was mentioning before, and. I don't know. I just feel like these sounds are kind of I don't know. It just kind of really speaks to me. Do you feel like the boom bap really speaks to you, especially on a deeper level as well?
I think so. Yeah, for sure. I like it sonically. I enjoy like the tempo and the samples that are used, the sound of the drums. And I think boom bap gives avenue for a certain type of lyrical expression that I personally connect with. And like I think all tempos and genres or subsections of hip hop or whatever, like all offer a different sort of way of expressing something, and they're all just as valid and all that. But something about boom bap just clicks with me. It's hard to kind of explain.
Okay. So you got to tell me also because I do want to I do want to move aside with you for a second. I want to talk about my man Dids, right?
But yeah,
My man Dids. Now, I feel like used to because obviously I've seen Dids perform and obviously in multiple stages, sorry, events through the Breaking Bread. Shout out to Breaking Bread, by the way. And like he's such an underrated talent, and I feel like used to together are kind of like the yin and yang, if that makes sense, right?
but sure,
And because I feel like he kind of goes hard a little bit, but you kind of like center him down a little bit, so it's kind of created like that perfect balance in a way.
yeah,
So tell me, how did you meet Dids, and how like how did you come to like work with him?
yeah, yeah. It's a good one. So we've had several discussions about where we've met, and I think we've narrowed it down to like either like, did you ever go to the dojo events at Blue Bar? That was run by Mono back in the day.
Oh,
Okay,
oh no, I'll be honest,
that's great.
no.
That's cool. Yeah, so they used to do freestyle. It was every Wednesday, or was it fortnight? I think it was weekly for a while there. Yeah, Wednesday nights. Mono used to run these freestyle nights. They were, it's kind of like what Don't Sweat they're doing now, but this is
Mm.
before. But it's not the live band. It's just DJ spinning beats. And it used to attract like a really raw crowd because it almost felt like 8 Mile. Like you're on stage, it's just hardcore boom bap beats, and it's just people were so hungry to get the microphone. It was sick. And I think I might have met Dids there or a similar sort of open mic. But I think just at some point I was looking to work with new artists. I can't even remember what year this was. This might have been 2023 or maybe 2024. Maybe this, yeah, it must have been 2023. And I think I just hit Dids up because I every time I heard a song on the microphone, he was killing it. He's got this
Yeah.
mad, like, raw, aggressive 90s sound, which I love. And it's very akin to like Cypress or Onyx or something like that. Um, and I asked him to send me like some of his demos to hear, like, what his sound was like recorded so I could knew what sort of beat I might send him or something. And he only he had at the time had done one recording and he sent me that and it was sick. And yeah, and then I think I just started. I'm like, yo, here's a bunch of beats, trying to write something, and then he sent me back a song called "That's My Shit." You've probably seen it perform that one, yeah.
Mm.
And I was like, oh man, this is ill. So that was kind of the start of a more of an active sort of collaborative relationship, but also a friendship as well.
Yeah, yeah, nice. And will there ever be kind of like a Sixpence Dids duo, like kind of like a rap duo?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've kind of got that going on a little bit at the moment. We're kind of in the process of negotiating some other like gigs as a duo as well. Um, but yeah, because we've been trying to focus very hard on him doing his own solo EP,
Right.
which I'm partly producing and helping him record. Um, that's kind of been the focus, but it was literally just the other night we were just talking. It's like, yeah, we should really just do like a group EP, but I think that will come after he has his own project. So yeah, I'm sure at some point, hopefully, yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like you're kind of like a big brother in a way, where you're kind of trying to motivate him to keep him motivated in music in a way, or
In a sense, but I feel like we help keep each other enthusiastic for it. We always trying to show each other what we're coming up with and g each other up. And yeah, I think we're good. We're good at that.
okay? No, it's awesome.
Mm.
Because I feel like we really need to sometimes just reach out to each other and be like, hey, bro, you need to step up your game, bro. We need to keep this music going. We got this. Like we just got to keep going all the way, always motivate each other, just to always be better. Because I mean, as much as I see, because obviously me being in the scene myself, obviously I've gone to a lot of gigs, obviously events as well, and I feel like there's just so much potential with a lot of local artists in the scene,
Yeah.
right? But I just feel like no one is really pushing them a little bit
Mhm.
as much as we don't want to push people, but we try to really encourage people to just just keep it going, just not as much as we're going through a lot of hard times. I'm going through something, you're going through something, but we shouldn't use that as an excuse to stop. If anything, we should use that as motivation, as a tool for music, because that way it can be subjective.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like if you've got some sort of creative output or you can use your emotions that you're currently experiencing in some sort of turmoil to kind of fuel your drive for something, absolutely. Sometimes you need to sit with what you're dealing with and sort that out before you keep, pursuing other sort of efforts. But yeah, I think that's, what you said about pushing people, whatever, like, yeah, I suppose that's one thing. Like you heard portraits that took six
Yes.
years to make, and I've been working on music consistently since I've been about 14 or 15, but I've never put out an album. So I know what it can be like to just not be working on like be working on stuff, but not actively grinding and putting out stuff. So yeah, I agree with all that sort of stuff you said and the merit in it, you know.
Yeah, so which also raises the question on when it comes to motivation for you, do you kind of do you kind of have to kind of step away a little bit and then kind of get your mind right and then go back to it, or do you feel like you kind of need something to kind of keep you, basically keep the motivation going for music?
Yeah, I feel like I'm always feel pretty motivated to be doing stuff. However, sometimes I can get burnt out with like music or one thing in particular. Like if I'm going really hard at music and then I'm starting to feel a little overwhelmed, then I might start turning towards a different creative pursuit or something, just to step back from it a little bit. It's like maybe if I, it's like I find that like I'm with my creative endeavors or whatever, I'm more absorbed into one thing at a time. It might be I'm either writing a lot, I'm recording a lot of stuff, I'm making beats, or I'm just listening to a lot of music. And sometimes I just cycle between different ones wherever like my heart's being pulled at one point. So yeah, I think if I'm feeling burnt out or I'm struggling with one thing, then there's always other things for me to explore. And then even outside of music, like there's other things. Like sometimes I really like to just write poetry or occasion do some painting or something like that as well. It's always a good reset, you know.
Okay, so it's so so would you say you're confident to say that there are different areas that you explore, but it's still keeping you, so that do you kind of think it keeps your mind fresh, so when you do go back to music, it's just like, yeah, okay, I got this. Okay, I wrote this dope line for poetry, or I heard this bar that I can mix around with when I was listening to another
Yeah,
music, so, outside. Does it kind of work like that with you?
yeah, I think it could. Like it can provide me outside inspiration, or like provide like a missing piece or something I'm looking for if I'm struggling with something. Or I think honestly, it's just more of like just taking a step back and then allowing yourself to step back into it later, when just with a bit more of a fresh perspective. It's kind of like when you're up all night trying to mix a song. It's just like go to bed, come back to it tomorrow, like with a fresh perspective, you know. So that's just that sort of thing, you know.
Yeah, because I'm very happy you said that, because I will never ever ever believe. You know how rappers are always saying, "Oh no, we don't sleep. Oh no, there's none of that." The But I'm like, bro, you have to have your mind rested, bro. You have to have your brain rested, because I feel like if you're burnt out, you can't perform at your best. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You can't perform at your best, because if you're burnt out, just as you said, like you're not going to enjoy it as much. You need to be not just rested but mentally rested too,
See, I think,
and always, like, just always keep a balance with everything.
no
So I don't
doubt.
understand why these rappers are always talking about, like, oh no, we don't sleep, oh no, we always keep working, we always keep hustling, grinding. I'm like, okay, if it works for you, that's fine, but I mean, not everyone's gonna jump on board with that, you
I
know.
think I think that sort of lifestyle is a choice. Like I could see myself just like going full pout and just making like hip hop my everything. But the fact of the matter is like, you know, I try to have a balance of things in my life. Like music's an aspect, but I'm also like there's my job, which is completely separate to my music, and then there's my friends and my family, and you know, this yeah, those sort of things, and they all they all require you know water out of your one cup, so to speak. So some people like fully just dive into one thing and they're grinder like this of the one thing. There's this want to try and build themselves with one thing, and it's very admirable if that's what you're trying to do, but that's not necessarily what I'm trying to do. You know, I want to be successful with music, but successful in my own eyes and my own idea of what that is. So yeah,
Yeah, you want to be successful in your own way with music.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I
for
totally
sure,
understand.
for sure.
Yeah. So, which does raise the question. Now, talk to me about support. Now, there's always, with every creative, there's always the story of, oh, the family doesn't really support what I do. They would rather me have like a 9 to 5 and settle and be safe and these types of things. Now, for you, sir, what did that look like? Like, are you confident to say that your family supports you, or they don't? Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah, think my family have always been very supportive. They've always helped me like financially for like with like birthdays and stuff, sourcing certain equipments and stuff. Like I'm very grateful for the support I've received, and I've got amazing friendships that have always like backed me and encouraged me. So yeah, I never felt like it's like a me against the world type thing with music. But yeah, but typically like, but I do would say that I'm always been kind of in my own world with the music. People outside the bubble can see what I'm doing, and they whether they understand it or not, they're very supportive. But yeah, up until like meeting certain crews, you know, uh, like before Breaking Bread, there were like other little crews I was a part of and stuff. Like I was kind of just doing a lot of the stuff myself. You know?
Yeah. Okay. So would you say that like people were looking at your potential, but they didn't see your vision?
Um, so some people see my vision, like my best mate and stuff like that. But like, yeah, but I've just because that's always been my way of creating stuff as well. And I didn't have a lot of people to collaborate with growing up with immediately anyway. Like I used to do a lot of like online collaborations through SoundCloud. I was just kind of used to keeping the cards close to my chest in terms of like what creations I'm doing. But I've always been very enthusiastic about what I've been creating. Like, as soon as I made a song, I would just like send it to all my friends and like listen to the shit.
Yeah.
So yeah. 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 That was
Okay.
the
So
question.
where do you want to take your music? Like what is the end goal for music for Sixpence?
Mm. Um I don't know. I think I'm I'm actually just totally gassed with how the Portraits album's been doing, I've pressed vinyl, already pretty much sold half the copies. Like I wouldn't have thought that would have been achievable like that. Um, and so I don't know, I'm not really looking to sign a deal or anything like that, and I'm not really trying to make this my 9 to 5 because I always want to make the music that I want to make free of certain kinds of pressures.
Mm.
So to be honest, I'm just kind of enjoying where it's been taking me so far. Right now, I really want to try and collaborate with other artists that I see a lot of potential in, like this. So yeah, but I've also just kind of keep following what I've been doing with the next few projects, and yeah, maybe just also keep collaborating with other people that I love to work with. So yeah,
Yeah, nice. So now this is also gonna this might be a bit of a deep question.
go ahead.
What song or songs do you feel that connect with you on a deeper level?
Or like other people's songs,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, could be even yours even.
Songs connect to me on a deep level. There's a song called Appreciation by Index, who's a UK MC. It's not on Spotify, you'll only find it on YouTube. But it's just such a beautiful song. It's just about appreciating like all the things that you have in your life. I love that song since a teenager. Definitely one of my favorite tracks. Um, I don't know. There's also like instrumental songs where I just feel really deeply connected to. There's a song called Nafas by he's like a electronic producer called The Spy from Cairo, and it's kind of like I love this track because I feel like little pieces of me are resembled in different parts of the beat because it's kind of got this hip hop sort of rhythm and drum beat, but it's got these like Middle Eastern kind of like horns, but then it's got like a reggae bass line, but the whole thing's very psychedelic and dubby with all these reverbs and delays, like, and like they just tick boxes from all sorts of different genres I love. So whenever I hear that song, I just feel represented by the song for some reason. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Uh, yeah, and, and
Okay,
yeah, and
and you
then
said was
yeah,
this an instrumental? This song?
it's instrumental. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
called Nafas, the Spy from Cairo. What's up, Silas? How we doing, G? Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, yeah, because sometimes I even listen to instrumentals myself. Because what I do for my mental health is that every Friday I just go for a drive and I just put some instrumental songs just to I
I
don't know,
love that.
just to get lost in the music,
That's cool.
and
That's cool.
just to kind of like reflect on the week, like, how did we do this week? Did we do really well? Did we fuck up at work, or did we fuck up with family, or whatever it is that we did? How
Yeah.
can we do better? Let's really,
Oh,
it gives me a chance to be with myself and really, really just, really analyze and how to improve on myself to be better every day,
I
right?
like that I like that you have a ritual in your schedule for going out and checking in with yourself and carving out time for yourself because I actually think stuff like that's really important, man. And it's cool that you listen to instrumentals as well. I assume that that helps you just it gives more room for you to think because other than like, other voices kind of interfering with your thoughts, right?
Oh yeah,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
absolutely,
Cool.
absolutely. And then because again, I love the sound of guitar. I love the sound of piano. I just love. I don't know. Obviously, with a nice with a nice drum beat to it as well. It's just I don't know. Again, it gets my mind working, on a deeper level in order to really just start really just being with myself spiritually,
Mm,
and really just again, as I was saying before, just reflect, and also self-reflection as well. And did I do really good at the gym? Also with work and these types of things, even with my podcast as well. Am I willing to come out of the box a little bit to try something different, and these types of things? Like it's just there's so many thoughts that I would
yeah,
have, and this is also what I do encourage a lot of artists as well to really spend, whether it's an hour or a maximum a day, to really just be with yourself.
yeah.
I even go for
Anyone.
walks.
I would
Yeah,
recommend that to anyone.
yeah. And anyone. Yeah, of course. Sorry.
Yeah,
And
no, you're good.
yeah, because I even go for walks in because there's a park in my area called Bringbank Park, which is my favorite place to go. And it's just again just I don't have my headphones with me at all. I just listen to the sound of the trees,
Birds.
birds.
Mm,
Man, the birds.
yeah, the
Yeah,
best.
it was just and again, like it's just so soothing, and it's just and then by the end of that, I just feel so. I just get no. I feel like I'm recharged. Like I'm just ready to go right
Yeah.
now. You know.
And more connected to yourself than ever, like because sometimes like those things that you give yourself space to ponder in, like those are things that come up throughout the week, but we don't have time to just check in with ourselves every minute. You compartmentalize it, so you know, and every time you kind of do that, and you're not checking in with yourself and acknowledging emotions and thoughts that have come up for yourself, I feel like you kind of get pulled away from yourself a little bit towards just kind of going on some sort of autopilot mode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you do, like I love it, bro. You go for that walk. You go through the inventory of the stuff you've been compartmentalizing, whatever, and you bring it all up, and then you give yourself the space and time to be able to experience it. So yeah, I can imagine you feel amazing after doing that. And I try to do the same thing for myself sometimes. I live right by a creek, so sometimes I just go down for a walk, like down the bike track and everything, and it's beautiful. And there's kookaburras and amazing birds and
Wow.
stuff. So, yeah, it's great, man. Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. The sounds of a kookaburra is so underrated.
No, it's my favorite bird, yo. Like they're incredible. And what's underrated? Magpies. I love the sound of magpies as well.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? No, I agree with that. As much as a lot of people are scared of
Yeah,
magpies during springtime,
exactly. Yeah.
but no, but it's just like no. You just see some of the like there's a magpie nearby when you can hear that specific sound of a magpie.
That's it.
And it's just something. And again, like it doesn't sound screechy. It doesn't sound like the
See?
other birds that we got, but. I don't know. It's just
Is that some shade to the other birds we got, or
yeah. Don't worry.
Screeching
It's
Mum?
nighttime now, so they can't hear me. Um, but yeah, yeah. I would say like it is on the underrated side because they do have a really nice sound to them.
They do.
That's all. I think again, just swooping at us is the thing that kind of ruins it. That's
Are
all.
you, are you familiar with a Melbourne producer called Mus Volkov from the label Pang Productions?
I'll be honest. No, that's
That's
still a
cool.
lot of artists. Still a lot of people I have to
That's cool,
get
man.
onto. To be honest.
He's one of my favorite producers, artists ever, and he would definitely be on my like checklist of people I love to work with. But he had a crew called the Four Aces, and this would have come out around like 2013, 2014.
Hmm.
And the first song, because he makes all the beats for the crew, um, is called 180 Grams, and it starts with the sound of Australian bush birds, and then like some like road sounds come in, and then like the bass line and the drums, and it's awesome. It's every time I just like hear the start of that song and with the birds, it just gives me such a beautiful feeling. I'll link you the song later, man.
Yeah, please. Yeah,
Really good.
I want to have a listen to it.
Yeah, it's great.
Definitely want to have a listen
Great.
to it. And because obviously going back to your album Portraits, again, amazing album. Obviously, we did me and Donkey Man,
That's right.
and
Yeah,
we did listen to it. It's on
it's sweet.
YouTube now. If you haven't seen that, please go see that because we do a full review on the entire thing.
Yeah,
And
oh, man.
again, my favorite song have to be Hexagram 53.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
And
progression.
I gotta ask, bro. I gotta ask, man. Like, because it goes for like what 7 minutes. Did you kind of get lost in the song yourself while you were making that?
Yeah, I remember that you said that after hearing it, and
Mm,
yeah, I resonated with it. You know, like so there's four verses in that song, and I don't remember if I wrote it all like in the one day or not, but
hmm
yeah, I think it was just kind of reflective of a lot of things I was kind of processing and kind of contemplating about myself. And yeah, I definitely would have got lost in the writing. Yeah, and it was also a time where I was exploring writing poetry a lot more, so that's why it kind of feels a bit poetic as well, you know? Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No, okay. No, I love it. Is it now? And also tell me a little bit about poetry. Like, is it kind of easy to learn, or is it one of those things how you have to kind of get used to?
I just used to go to these poetry nights that were run by a couple of my friends. This was like I used to be like kind of affiliated with this crew called Vibe Union, and they run by a few different people at a time. But currently, they still do their poetry nights run by my friends Ryan and Jason, and they've done so well to grow their poetry scene, by the way. But yeah, used to run a blue bar, same place as the dojo that I mentioned before, and I think that used to be every Tuesday night or maybe fortnightly. But I used to go there, and I didn't initially have much of an interest in poetry. I mean, of course, like somewhat because I've always liked literature, and I obviously love lyrics. Um, but it was a very new experience for me trying to explore writing poetry, which I guess is just kind of like free form lyricism. But you know, I'm so used to especially having just like battle rhyming, like there's rules, like you know, okay, like flow, and like the syllables land here, and um, you know, rhyme, of course. Um, but then I would try to challenge myself to write to not stick to those rules and to you know, not have to do things rhythmically, you know, as well, like just say things. And that was kind of uncomfortable first, but you that also provides another avenue to express certain things that you can't within a certain confines of like you know rhythmic lyricism, I guess. So um, yeah, I found it really interesting to explore, and it's still something I'm developing. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good to have that other outlet with it, you know.
Yeah. DJ Ron says, I don't know how you feel about gatekeeping in Australian hip hop. Is it true that there are gatekeepers stopping people to grow?
Uh, I don't know. I don't feel like I've really encountered a lot of that firsthand.
Mm,
You know, I feel like in any sort of scene, nothing's perfect, and there's always kind of some things that go on behind the scenes. But I feel like genuinely, with the scene that we have here, it's a pretty beautiful thing. I
yeah.
can't really speak of for a lot of other things that are happening outside the scene because you're also talking about the greater Australian scene.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, no, from what I've been exposed to and seen, I'd say it's been pretty positive. Eh?
Okay.
What's up, Hayden? Good to see you.
Potent 24 is here as well. He's saying that your poetic and abstract bars are what makes you unique, like shit that's open to interpretation, etc. Yeah, bro.
Thanks, bro.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that.
And mad shout out to Poten. He's been such a real dude from day
Yeah,
one. And yeah,
yeah, bro. I love seeing him,
thank you.
especially when I see him perform, bro. He always kills it every single time as
He
well.
puts his heart into it, man. You know, and, like you can
Yeah,
feel it, which is great.
yeah, I love it. Now, so there's also a big question. Why do you do music?
Like, I have to, you know, like I don't know. I don't know. I think it's there's if you have a drive to create. You don't have a lot of control over it. It's just like a need. Um, and before before it was music, I used to love writing stories in an exercise book. So there's always just been something. And before that, I used to love making my own trading card games because I used to love Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Hey,
So
hey.
yeah, and I still got some of those drawings. So cool. But yeah, so there's always just been things on the go, and the music's the thing I feel the most connected to in the world, so it makes the most sense for me. But yeah, I know it's kind of hard to explain it in any other way, you know.
No, that's all good. Now, what do you think is the best thing about being an artist?
Um, well, apart from like satisfying that certain need within myself, I think it's a beautiful way for me to share something that I feel so connected to, and then have other people connect to it, and to have other people appreciate it. Because I find like inspiration is such a beautiful thing because you find something beautiful, it inspires you to create something else beautiful, and then it keeps going. Your what you were inspired from and your creation is now inspiring someone else, and then it's their turn to inspire someone. Like it's I think that's just a way that we all can connect in a really beautiful way, especially through art. Art makes us feel certain things, and it's also it's also art allows for everyone's own unique idea and a way of expression. So yeah, I don't know. I just really value anything creative, and it could be anything from music to um, I don't know, feng shui or whatever you're into. Like building aquariums, like that shit's dope. So whatever.
So you really value the uniqueness of people doing something different, basically.
Yeah, yeah. Especially if I can sense it really connecting to it, and that's their thing. Some people have mad fashion sense, and
Mm.
that's their way of like being creative with their outfits, and through they connect to it, how they just feel good doing it, and it's their appearance and everything, and like I can fully understand that as well. So yeah, I love that. I love when someone feels like they've found their way to connect with the world, and you know. And it's always beautiful seeing someone do it and then talking to someone about it because they always light up, and yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, which is also another reason why I do this show as well, because that why I give the creator an opportunity to come on my show and really just let them have the stage, to let them have their voice, let them tell their story, you
Damn
know,
right, man.
and
It's dope.
yeah, and it's
What's up, Trev? What's up, Jay?
and
And Arg.
and yeah, bro, and obviously making them feel comfortable as well, which is obviously the main important thing, and
Yeah,
that's where,
big up to you, man.
yeah,
Because like your your passion and interest in the scene and support in the scene is just like unquestionable. It's dope, and we all really support and appreciate what you're doing.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone who's supported me through my journey as well, because you guys have given this meaning as well. So you guys are the reason that this thing is still happening, to be honest with you. So and also special shout out to Brick and Bread. It's also T's birthday today as well.
Oh, wow.
So
Cool.
we definitely gotta go to the Break and Bread page and say happy birthday to the founders, the founder there. And
Okay.
yeah, because again, again, the reason why I do this is because I want to learn more about all types of creators, because I want to know like what drives them, like
Mm,
in their art, because I've had like other different types of creatives as well, and it's just creates so much of a story, and how they deal with certain obstacles of with family, trying to settle them into 9 to 5 or something, which I see all the time, and it's just
yeah,
so heartbreaking. Like I see so many artists that are so talented that I can vision like being at the Grammys, winning Grammys and shit, and they've been held back because the family want them to be safe. And it's kind of sad in a way. Like I understand, like you want your family, you want your kids to be safe and these types of things, but if we've been put on this earth to do something greater, then we have to pursue it.
Mm. Yeah,
You know,
I hear you there.
yeah, because it just makes you feel like your soul is empty. I see so many people that are like that are so I don't want to say miserable, but I just feel like I can tell that something is missing in their lives. Because I used to work at Sunglass Hut in one of the shopping centers in my area, right? And I during the quiet time, I used to just people watch, and then as I'm watching, I just thinking to myself like, wow, I can just it's like I can feel them like they're missing something in their lives, even though they're married and they've got kids, and they're walking around the shopping center, and which raises does the question. It's like are their souls are full? I mean, yeah, you can have money in your account and you can buy whatever you want, but is your soul wealthy and healthy?
Mm. Yeah, you know, and sometimes that comes down to like a lack of being able to commit to that certain passion. Sometimes I feel like it also comes down to just like your different needs in life, because we all have different needs, just like being in a certain imbalance, because you know to completely throw yourself into one thing would be to neglect other needs you have in your life. And that's what makes us individuals, is we all need to find our certain ratios, our own unique ratios for what we need in our life. And that's why we need to do things like check in with ourselves and make sure that, like, are we happy? Are we doing what's healthy for ourselves? So yeah, it's a complicated one to answer, and we can go a long time without checking in with ourselves, or being honest with ourselves. And um yeah, and yeah, things get tricky.
Oh yeah. Which I do want to ask is, are you happy, Sixpence?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, it's been a good year. Obviously, I've been really happy with how music things have been going. It's leading to some really exciting doors that are kind of being opened for me, and I'm feeling pretty content with how my work's going. Um, Friends and family, everything's going really well. So, yeah, yeah. No, thank you. Things are going pretty well.
I like it. So it sounds like you're really blessed right now.
I am blessed, and even when times are tough, I'm blessed. And that's what I try to remember as well. Like,
Yeah.
I've you know I've never not felt blessed, so I really am appreciative to all of the things that have happened in my life, even like when things have been tough at certain points. So yeah, I'm always I'm always feeling a sense of gratitude, which helps me a lot in life.
Yeah, I love that, man. Well, I think that's it from me. Um, is there anything you wanted to talk about or anything you wanted to ask me? Any questions you're curious about me? Anything before we
How,
wrap it up?
how are you doing, man? You happy? Things good for you?
Bro, I'm beyond blessed. I have never been so happy in my life right now, even though I'm going through an obstacle right now with trying to get a house. But other than that, man, I've never felt my soul this full in a very, very long time.
Yeah, man. I'm here for it. That's great. Good for you,
And
dude.
and to be honest with you, doing what I love doing and having the ability to literally ignore the naysayers as well as the closed-minded people coming at me with bullshit, and I have the ability to not lose sleep over it
Cool.
is just very powerful, to be
Mm.
honest with you. And I feel so free from
That's
that.
yeah. That is a liberating thing, because I think like a lot of that's an obstacle a lot of us have to overcome in life, is like letting go of what other people think of you and stuff. But when you do, like, you can really sort of like ascend in the way you're supposed to. So good on you, bro. That's great.
Thank you. It took me a long time, but we got there in the end. So I'm very
Yeah,
yeah. We're all just all smiles. We're all good. I have I
yeah.
have I have my moments, but I'm human at the end
We're
of the
human.
day. So
Exactly. Exactly, mate.
yeah, man. But we'll wrap it up here if you don't have anything else. Oh, but before we go, everyone, make sure you go listen to Sixpence's Portraits album, and if you're at a record store, go
Yeah,
get a vinyl. Do
yeah,
that.
that's it. Yeah,
We
they
go.
you can find them at Northside Records, Old Plates Records, Union Heights, Wax Museum, Alley Tunes, Urban World. And you can also find them on my Bandcamp page. If you don't know how to navigate that, you can find the link in my Instagram bio, the link tree. There'll be the Bandcamp right there. It's all made pretty easy. But thanks, Labzy. I appreciate that, man.
And I appreciate you, sir, for coming on here and taking the time to speak to me.
Pleasure.
And but yeah, bro, we'll wrap it here. And I want to say thank you so much, Sixpence, for taking the time. Having Did you have fun?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I hope you did too.
Oh man, every all the guests I've had, all of you are my favorites. I
Awesome.
don't play
That's a good
favorites, so
answer. That's a crafty answer,
yeah.
man, Joey.
All right, but yeah, bro, we'll wrap it up here, bro. You have a good night, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You too.
And also I want to say thank you for everyone who's joined in today in the live.
Yeah.
This will be on YouTube and Spotify as well. And yeah, and also happy Easter. And
Okay,
we'll
true.
be announcing some more guests in May as well. So
Exciting.
have a good night. Sixpence, always a pleasure, sir. Have a good night,
Cheers,
my
man.
friend.
You too.
Right.
Thanks, man.
Bye, everybody.
Real talk with Labzy, we speaking the truth. From the streets to the booth, giving voice to the groove. No holding back, every combo's the proof. It's the realest in the game, now we raising the roof. Real talk with Labzy, Labzy, Labzy. Real talk with Labzy, Labzy, Labzy. Real talk with Labzy, Labzy, Labzy. Real talk with Labzy.